Hey folks, just a quick video. A friend of the channel sent me a link to this leaflet. I'll leave a link in the description, published last year. Guidance in relation to medicinal cannabis users as per the Equality Act 2010. And that's from Cedar Future, compiled by Guy Coxall and Ellie Taylor. And yeah, as I said, published July last year. So fairly recently in date. Got the print shop to print me out 5 copies, so if I go anywhere, which is rare, but I'm certainly pursuing help at the moment to try and get to places. If you go anywhere, you can take this with you. This gives you information on how to avoid civil litigation for discrimination arising from a disability. So this is for establishments that you go to, as well as for your own information. Cannabis is legal medication in the UK, definition of a disability, are medical cannabis users disabled by law, the Equality Act. So for me personally, it's if I want to go to the cinema and I need to vape in the cinema, I'm now not going to get kicked out, and they're going to see this and know that to do that would be a terrible decision. Can medical users vape their medicine indoors? As with any medication, it is needed to alleviate or prevent the symptoms of a condition, and often in the case of vaping cannabis, the medical user will decide when it is needed. This is not dissimilar to the use of an asthma inhaler or an insulin injection for diabetes. The vaporizer is a medical device that does not cause combustion and so is absent from legislation for smoking or vaping e-cigarettes indoors. So there you go. Does vaping cannabis infringe on the rights of other members of the public? It's important to understand that the vape device is a medical device which does not cause combustion and causes less smell, which administers medical treatment needed for the person's condition. It is never unlawful to treat a disabled person more favourably than a non-disabled person. Therefore, service providers may provide services on more favourable terms to a disabled person compared to a non-disabled person. For discrimination arising from disability to occur, the service provider needs to know that the person has a disability, and so the person with the disability should inform them of this when a situation occurs. However, there is no requirement to prove their disability. We don't generally believe anyone should have to prove their disability prior to starting litigation for discrimination, and when accessing services, we do not believe service providers should generally require proof of disability before making services accessible or providing adjustments. So the sheer fact that we have our prescriptions means that we are disabled by law and that we have extra rights than your average shit muncher. It is important to be aware that many disabilities are not obvious. An impairment is considered long-term if the effects are likely to come and go. These are known as fluctuating or recurring effects. The definition of what is long-term is in Schedule 1 of the Equality Act. Definition of disabilities: if you have a physical or mental impairment, your impairment has a substantial and long-term adverse effect on your ability to do normal day-to-day activities. Are medical cannabis users disabled by law? Most, if not all, of the above-mentioned conditions to which cannabis is prescribed can meet the lawful definition of a disability depending on the individual's circumstances. A long-term effect means something that affects the person for at least a year. For example, if they had an operation that will make walking difficult for at least a year. So as part of all this, we can expect reasonable adjustments and mutual considerations. It's not a minimalist policy of simply ensuring that some access is available to disabled people. It is, so far as is reasonably practicable, to approximate the access enjoyed by disabled people to that enjoyed by the rest of the public. The purpose of the duty to make reasonable adjustments is to provide access to a service as close as it is reasonably possible to get to the standard normally offered to the public at large. The reasonable adjustments for cannabis users should be straightforward, as you need to simply treat them the same as anyone else. It's important also that the user is polite and considerate to staff and the public when carrying and using their medication as far as is practical, dependent on their conditions, as this allows for mutual considerations and reasonable adjustments to take place. It's important that medical cannabis users always carry their medicines with them. So there we go. Oh, there's a bit more on the back. What is unfavourable treatment? For discrimination arising from disability to occur, a disabled person must must have been treated unfavourably. This means that he or she must be put at a disadvantage. Often the disadvantage will be obvious and it will be clear that the treatment has been unfavourable. For example, a person may have been denied a service or given a poorer service. Being denied a choice or excluded from an opportunity is also likely to be unfavourable treatment. Sometimes the unfavourable treatment may be less obvious. Even if a service provider thinks they are acting in the best interests of a disabled person, they may still treat that person unfavourably. For instance, if you were maybe going out for a meal, if you were going to the theatre, going to the cinema, maybe if you were on a bus, a train, all of these places have to make reasonable adjustments for us, and we shouldn't be having to hide that we are cannabis users. And I think there's still some stigma in there, and I've seen some reviewers even with stigma that they would rather hide that they're a cannabis user, and that is not helping any of us. So me personally, I would rather let somewhere know that I'm going to be there with cannabis beforehand, show them this, maybe print one out, take it in and give it to them, and then when you are there they don't have a leg to stand on. There's nothing they can do. I'll leave a link in the description. I advise all of you to get a copy of this and maybe just keep one in your bag or your rucksack or your purse or whatever you take out with you. Maybe just carry one of these with you, so if you do get hassle in a coffee shop or anywhere, you can whip this out, you can let them know, and the chances are it's going to start a really interesting conversation, and the chances are that person might know someone, or that person that you're speaking to might want to be a patient at some point, and you'll have pointed them in the right direction and made a difference with that. I hope you're all well. Thank you for watching. If anyone would like to get involved in a 3k giveaway, if you subscribe, when I get to 3,000 subscribers, we will be giving away this grinder, which looks absolutely amazing. It's currently in London, I think. I'm just waiting for delivery. And this glass to go with it by a Vape Fiend, which is incredible that they've opted to support the channel, and I really appreciate that. And I'm going to approach a few more companies and see if there's anything else that we can get in a little goodie bag. I'm not sure yet whether to split up the prizes into individual prizes for people or to give an entire full vaping kit away to someone with a grinder, a vaporizer, some glass that the vape will fit, or whether to give them away individually. But I do really like the idea of a full kit going to somebody. But anyway, subscribe if you want to be in for a chance to win the grinder, the glass, and I'll throw in a vaporizer as well. Yeah, and please remember, you watching this right now, if you hit subscribe, maybe hit like, maybe go for that little bell icon thing as well, you are going to be making a massive difference to all patients out in the UK, and that is incredible. YouTube will not promote these videos because largely they feature flower or talk about things that YouTube don't like, and I feel instead of censoring myself, instead of making it more tricky for you guys to see what you want to see, I'd rather feature those things so you can see the bud, you can see what you're getting, you can see what I'm talking about. But to get these videos out there and to make sure that patients see them, we need to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Subscribe's there, isn't it? What do you think about this? Is this something that you would want to take with you? Is this something that you would do? Would you take this into an establishment before you go there? Or would you be more worried about outing yourself? Would you be more worried about the establishment then saying no, which they can't, obviously, because they're leaving themselves open to being sued? Then you've got the chance to go for litigation. I actually have a friend that runs a bar, and I was talking to him about this sometime last year, and he was saying that he would not be happy about me going in there and potentially stinking the place out with medical cannabis. So at some point I'm going to go into his bar and I'll be taking this in and letting him know that if I do decide to come in, I'm afraid you're going to have to deal with it, and you're going to have to spread the word that it's medical and it's fully legal, and yeah, let's not get in each other's bad books. That would be bad. And I would like to try the food in his place as well at some point. So yeah, is there something that you'd want to carry with you? Is this something that you would do? Take this to places? Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. Have a great day. Stay medicated.